Hey, welcome back, Simple Truth. We're in the story of Joseph, and we just got to the point where Jacob gets desperate enough to send his son, Benjamin, to see Joseph. Now, he doesn't know that's what he's doing, because if he did, he'd be going along too. But instead, he finally got desperate enough to do that which was commanded. We're going to pick it up in verse 15, right? It says this: So the men took this present. They took double the money with them and Benjamin, and they rose and they went down to Egypt, and they stood before Joseph. A family reunion moment that only one person knew about. The rest of them didn't know it was a family reunion moment. You understand, again, that concept is biblical in nature, right? That there are times that are huge moments in our life that nobody but God knows. God has no idea. You ever meet somebody and you get the feeling like this is significant, this is important, this is an important experience, this is an important moment, but I don't really know why. I feel like this is really important, but I don't have a clue why. Why? Because God knows. God knows, hey, this is a really important moment, but only I know why. Because only I know the plans. Because I've been working in this person, and finally we got them at a table together, and you can't wait to see what's going to happen. And this is where we are in the story. And God's about ready to bring this whole thing full circle, right? And he's about ready to tie it all up in a little bow and bring restoration to a family that's long overdue. But restoration that also moves his process, his plans, his purpose forward. Verse 16 says, When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the steward in his house, Bring the men into the house, slaughter an animal, make ready, for the men are to dine with me at noon. The man did as Joseph told him, brought the men to Joseph's house. And the men were afraid because they were brought to Joseph's house. And they said, It is because of the money which was replaced in our sacks the first time that we are brought in, so that he may assault us, fall upon us, make us servants, seize our donkeys. You see their thought process. Do you know the thought process here is stuck in the past? Right? The thought process here is because of the guilt that they feel about what happened with Joseph years ago. They've been carrying that along, and now look at what it has done for them. It has turned them in, right, to people that are constantly questioning all that's around them. They just got honored. Right? Honored is when somebody higher up than you invites you to their house for dinner. Right? They're inviting you into their home, what they're about. And they get this invitation, and instead of looking at it as an invite of purpose and plan and honor, they look at it as an invite to death, to servanthood, to slavery. That's where their minds just immediately went. Right? We deserve this. Now we know this is true because earlier on in the story, they say out loud, we're getting this because of what we did to our younger brother. We're getting this because it's a payback for what happened, what we did over here. So that's their thought process. The thought process is punishment all the time. We did this, and we're just continually going to be punished for this. Been there a lot, right? That is where my mind naturally goes. I think of the things I've done wrong, or I think I've done wrong, and I think that God sees them. Well, I know he sees them. And then I think, I'm going to put one and one together and I'm going to get two, right? And sometimes God is about ready to free people. God wants you to be free from your prison. He doesn't want you to keep thinking back to what you did wrong. He doesn't want you to ruin your present day relationships. He doesn't want you to ruin your present day opportunities, because all you're thinking about is your past. Now I'm preaching to the choir here, right? Like, this is what we do. We assume because we had a bad relationship here that I'm going to pay for it in this relationship over here. Listen, if it's a godly relationship, what kind of God would do that? What kind of God would do that to another person? I'm going to put you into a relationship with this person, but then I'm going to make you miserable the rest of your lives because this person failed over here. That's not a godly thing. God's about forgiveness, and he wants you to wrap up this relationship, right? If that's what you need to do, wrap up this moment, wrap up this experience, wrap up whatever it is, so that he can move you on to the next. Now, you're to learn from it. You're to learn from it. You're to grow from it, and all of these things. But you do not take ugly into new. God said, right? Do not put new wine into old wine skins. Think of how many times you and I are doing that. Think of how many times you and I are carrying the old into the new and contaminating that which is new. God says those wineskins, they're going to burst. They can't handle the new wine. Do you know that that's what happens with you and I? Sometimes we can't handle, if we drag the past into the now, and we can't handle the new. Frequently, I find myself, maybe you do, in that same boat where you can't believe what God has for you in the present because you're constantly thinking about what you did in the past. You're constantly thinking like, hey, this has ruined any of my present. This is where these men were. They couldn't accept an honor. They were going to be dined, wined, right, in a great place with their brother. They didn't know it was their brother, but they were about ready to be honored and taken care of. And what happens? All they can think about is the punishment that they think they deserved. They're ruining the moment because they're living in the past. So here's my simple truth for today. Quit ruining your present by thinking about and living in your past, right? Listen, I'm filming this around Christmas time. This is going to come out after Christmas, but let me give you an analogy because I love my object lessons, right? If you're opening a present on Christmas Day, but all you can think about while you're opening that present is the previous present or a previous one from that or one from the year before, how are you ever going to enjoy that present? I see it all the time in little kids, right? They open up a present that they're super excited about and everything else pales in comparison. And they miss out on what is in the present because they're constantly looking at what was over here, right? God doesn't want you to get stuck in a moment that robs you of the present. God's about ready to do something in these gentlemen's life that is amazing. And they're missing out at this moment because all they're thinking about is the past. So think about your present so that you can enjoy your future. Learn from your past so that you can enjoy your present. It all works together. Just don't get stuck somewhere where God doesn't want you to be stuck. Hey, we'll see you next time. Simple truth.